friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. It's been a minute.
It's been a minute. We were just talking about this. I was like, yeah, we were in here a couple weeks ago talking. And she's like, no, Nichelle, we've had so many guests in between you and I sitting here. And I was like, that must have been a dream.
Literally, it feels weird.
It does.
I'm like, do we need like a practice round or?
I mean, we probably could have, so
give us some grace on this. We've got lots of great things to talk about today. This is a very real episode.
It is.
You know, I mean, all of the episodes are real, but this is kind of like we have some problems that we're like, you know what? I think other people probably are.
They're going to respect a little bit of behind the scenes and
yes, lots of great things.
Truths.
Seriously. Also, speaking of truth, I left my house this morning and I would say that my household is like failure to thrive right now. We've got lots of sickness going on all week. Like, it's like they're just trading off fevers and like stomach things and
'tis the season.
I know. I like looked at Chris. I was like, I think they need to stay home. And our nanny doesn't work on Fridays, which means Chris had to stay home.
Nanny Chris is there. Yeah.
We are trading off. I am going home, but I'm like, gosh, it just is like that change of weather.
Yeah.
And I mean, they're in daycare, so their little like bodies are just.
Yeah. I can't imagine how they're feeling right now. I know a few adults that are kind of going through the virus, whatever it is that's going around. It could be multiple things. Who knows?
Had like some girls in our office strep throat in her family. Like,
yes.
I don't know.
Stay away.
Seriously. Well, and that's me. I'm like, do I feel okay?
Yeah.
Like, is my stomach hurting?
You're like,
yeah.
Am I fine?
Chris is like, are you good? I'm good. I think I'm good.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Is that a weird pain?
You're like downing charcoal.
Yeah.
You're like,
no kidding.
Yeah.
Literally. Jen Bowie told me this trick when we had a stomach bug at our house, like maybe 6 months ago or something. And she was like, you've got to get some like activated charcoal, little like capsules and like split it up, give it to the kids. You guys take it. And it like really helped.
It's supposed to even help it like prevent almost, right? Because she told you to take it before you got it from them, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
So I definitely did that this week as well. Cause I was like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes, and maybe this is probably not a good idea, but sometimes I feel like when sickness is coming, I'm like, let me just like go ahead and take all these extra vitamins.
Yes.
Like, surely it can't hurt. I mean, I'm sure somebody's listening that's like, no, this actually isn't a good idea.
And you're wondering about your stomach ache or later, you know? Like,
so that's on me.
That's fine.
Yeah. So hopefully the kids will get it together. We're supposed to go to the beach next week. And I'm like, we'll just move this sick house to the beach house.
Yeah, at least y'all be together.
Yeah.
You know?
So true.
Same people, different house. Yeah, this week's been a little crazy.
Yeah.
I think just, again, weather change has all of us kind of in a panic at the house because we're like, wait, they don't have a coat.
Yeah.
Wait, do we need jeans? Do we have like long sleeve shirts that fit now? And it happens every year, but it's like it surprises me every year too.
Right.
It's like I'm not prepared for it.
Well, because we get fake fall.
Yes.
And then all of a sudden it's like freezing starting now.
Yeah.
And you're like, wait, I don't have like pants
Right.
for the kids.
Or you get fake fall and then you go back to summer.
Yes.
Which in Georgia happens a lot, you know, and then it's like winter.
Yeah. Like Collins and Hazel, I was cleaning out some of their clothes because they're like long little kind of like leggings pants are really from last year.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh yeah, like I'll fix that or I'll clean that out. Didn't. And now I'm like, none of this fits us. And it's freezing outside. And Collins wears a uniform. But now I'm starting to be like, all of the like little outfits are not pants. And so I need to call the school and be like, what's acceptable pants for them to wear so they're not freezing all winter? I mean, I guess obviously like tights or leggings like under the dresses. But Chris sent her yesterday in like her top, and then he put on like a pair of red leggings, which is the school colors. But I picked her up and I was like, what are you wearing? I'm like, this is not a like uniform.
Right. And like daycare always knows when dad got the kids ready. They're like,
know.
oh, dad did that
I
this morning.
know.
Yeah.
And I always try to leave the clothes out and he gets them dressed and takes them to school. And
Yeah.
there's some days where I'm like, what?
Yeah.
If
Robert's
I, like,
still
couldn't-
traumatized from a situation because I was like, what happened today? Did she have a blowout?
Yeah, are these someone else's kids?
Yeah, I was
or
like,
someone else's
did we
clothes?
find these clothes somewhere else in here? And I take her home and she's wearing white dress up Mary Jane's. She's wearing olive green cargo, like capris, and a turquoise tank top.
What?
Yeah. And I was like, she looks homeless. Like
Yeah,
literally, like this is not, I would never put her in this. He still to this day is like, well, I'm not going to get them dressed because, I can't dress anybody. Those are the same colors. I was like, no, they're not.
They're like, we have bigger issues. Are you colorblind?
Literally.
What?
Somebody who works in retail,
Seriously?
He worked in retail for years.
Oh my gosh, if he was
Clothing
dressing
retail.
mannequins and
Yes.
they're all like
Bless you. Bless you.
well, it's funny because whenever Chris gets them dressed and it's questionable, it makes me question like why, like I feel like I have to be cautious of what combination could these pants potentially get put in that I'm not going to approve of.
Yeah.
Do we need to buy them?
Yeah.
Like that's what I have to go through in my head.
Yes.
And I always tell Chris, I'm like, this is like a reflection of me, like especially being in the fashion industry. Like,
Yes.
I'm like, only so many of us. It's like that meme of like, I can't be dressed, my house can't be clean, and my kids can't be like looking good all at the same time. Like
Right.
we got to pick one.
Right.
But sometimes I'm like, I'm literally a fashion influencer, obviously for women and occasionally for children, but not, I'm still just
Yes.
like, he's like, no one cares about that. Let them be kids. Let them mismatch. And I'm like, that gives me hives. Like,
we don't do that here.
I just don't like, I just want to set them up for success.
Agree. Agree. Yeah, I was the same. Now I have a 12-year-old that's stealing from her 18-year-old sister. They were about the same size. Like she can fit in most of her clothes. So that's been the battle this week that Maddie's like, where's my Spanx skirt? Where's my Abercrombie jacket?
Yeah.
Where's my, and it literally is all in her room.
Oh my gosh. I feel like we're going to really have some problems with that when the kids
Yes.
get older because of how close in age
Yes.
they are. And I'm just already like, oh no,
Yeah.
the sister, like, I didn't say you could borrow that. I mean, they
Yes.
do that now with the dress up clothes. And I'm like, okay, this is not yours. It's not yours. It's mine.
Yeah.
I'm sharing it with you,
Yeah.
so why are we getting upset?
I know my kids are an anomaly because they are the same size and they're 6 years apart, but yours are definitely going to end up being the same sizes.
I know. I always go back and forth with like at our new house if I should have kept the Jack and Jill bathroom or if they should have their own bathrooms.
No.
And I'll have these moments where I'm like, I think it's probably best to be separated.
Yeah. You're like, it's so cute right
I
now.
know. They have
But then they're going to be pulling each other's hair one day.
yeah.
So
or get out of the way or I
Yes.
need the bathroom or whatever. And
Exactly.
I'm like, let's just avoid that.
Yes.
Oh,
It was a smart move.
yeah. Okay, so we had the closet sale last weekend.
We did. It was so
Really
good.
fun. I know. I feel like this year now that like we have this option to host them in the photo studio, there's only so much room in there.
Yeah.
So I feel like they are a little bit like smaller.
We're also doing them more often than we
Yes.
started off doing. It was once a
Agreed.
year and we needed a really big space because there was so much.
Right.
This has been perfect for the amount of stuff that we've had. But again, like, fire code, all that. There's only so
right.
many people that can come
Yeah.
in the building.
I know things that we didn't have to think about
Yes.
before that we're now like, oh wait, we can only let 15 people in here at a time.
Yeah.
Like, ooh. But it was really great. We raised like $9,000 for St. Jude. So all of the proceeds are getting donated. Chris is running the New York City Marathon in 2 weeks, which is crazy. He's to the point now where he's like, yeah, so like I can't get sick.
Yeah.
And I'm like, oh, you're in the wrong house right now.
Yeah.
But he's like, that could really take him out. And thankfully he's kind of come to terms that this marathon isn't going to be like a best time. Like he's just not like he wants to do more than just finish the race, but he's not. Some of the past ones have been to qualify for other marathons, whereas
This one's like
this
for
is
fun.
just for like
his kind of
his
fun.
run. Yeah, which I'm like, no one's making you do this. Like, remember?
Right.
And so he's running with St. Jude, which is amazing. He did this with London a few years ago. So when we always like raise money, and this was a way that we're giving back. So that was really exciting. And then everything that we had left over from the closet sale we've put on Poshmark, which
wow,
has been the bane of our existence this week. Not gonna lie.
I have tossed and turned this week because there's only so much that you can do.
Right.
We didn't know this, but Poshmark does not have the best customer support.
No. I mean, okay, so we've listed on Poshmark for years, and again, all of the proceeds that we make get donated to charity, and usually every month we pick a different charity. A lot of times we've like repeatedly given to like breast cancer research, St. Jude, local charities here. And so for us, we're like, this is a great way for people to get these items that were maybe like sold out before they could get their hands on it or whatever. So we listed all this stuff on Poshmark on Monday, and we were like really trying to we kind of had some things going on in the photo studio. So we needed to like stay organized, be moved. We had some extra hands who were really helping us. It was awesome. I'm so proud of the girls for just like nailing the assignment.
Yes.
And then the sales started coming through from Poshmark. We went to print the label, and it's like, update settings, like can't print until you update all these settings, which had changed since the time we had been on Poshmark. And it had been probably a few months because we were saving stuff for the closet sale.
Right.
Well, there's no customer support. It's like email, and we will get back to you in like 24 to 48 hours. But then like they were getting back to us, but not solving the problem. It was just like sort of like,
it was like copy and paste, like your generic facts, which I was able to find on the website, and they weren't helping. So they were like, copy, paste, send.
And so there was like an issue with the address, and I don't have my like personal address listed on the return labels, like for obvious reasons.
Right.
Goes to our PO box, but that wasn't matching up with like my driver's license that you had to upload a picture of. And so we were like, we have like over 140 orders that are trying to get sent out.
Right.
And we can't.
No, we had no idea that these settings had changed. We were like, how have we gone this long selling?
Right.
And it's been fine. And now all of a sudden you're telling us that we have to verify who we are. Everything is in there correctly. Yeah. So it's been literally a week.
Right.
Of just back and forth. Like, what are we going to do?
Well,
purchases keep coming in. It's not stopping.
And the problem too is like after it's been 7 days, you get like the buyer, you kind of like get docked.
Yeah.
Like, and I'm sure all these people who have bought are like, why hasn't this shipped yet?
Yeah.
And we're like, we can't ship anything, and I've been like, should I get on my Instagram and say, hey, like if you've ordered something, hang tight. We're trying to work through this. Thank goodness it came through this morning. You got on and like just tried it one more time, and they had like resolved the problem.
Like Jesus and I had a talk this morning. I was like, something's got to give. I was like, let me go in here and just see if there's anything that has updated. And I just happened, it popped up, and I changed the information around, and poof, we were good to go.
Yeah. It was just wild.
Ultimately, we got locked out of the account. Totally. That's what happened. So that's why none of those options were coming available for the last 2.5 days.
Right. And I'm just like, okay, what is like PR Brittany mode turns on, and I'm like, okay, like do we take everything down and then like try to relist it once this gets fixed? But like nobody could find a way to communicate. I mean, I was on like LinkedIn looking up like Poshmark employees, and like our management team was like trying to contact, like we were really trying.
Yes.
It was just, but I'm like, I don't understand why it's so difficult. But anyway, it's fixed. If you ordered from Poshmark, by the time you hear this, that was the drama of us not getting it out ASAP, but it's going out today.
We promise. We want it to come to you. We want you to enjoy it.
Right. Oh my goodness. Anyway.
Yeah, this week I started therapy back.
Okay, so because you like stopped.
Yeah, this summer.
Then,
what was it, July-ish?
Yeah.
Something like that. My therapist was like, Nichelle, you're healed. You're graduating.
You're healed.
Healed. I'm like, no, I'm not actually. I'm scared to be in the world without my therapist. Like, let's not do that. And she's like, no, you're great. Like, you have great like coping skills. You know exactly how to process these situations. I feel very confident that you're going to do great. But if you need anything, call me. I'm like, okay.
I need something.
And I'm like, maybe I'm in my own head. Maybe I'm fine. And I was not fine.
You're like, turns out.
Yeah.
I wasn't ready.
I was not ready to graduate. So I like have been going through, I feel like, some changes over the last couple of months that have not helped this situation. So I came to the realization, I'm like, yeah, you gotta ask for help, even though you think that you don't need it. Like, anybody should have a therapist. I feel like anybody should have a therapist.
I literally think everyone should.
Literally.
I try to tell Chris all the time. I'm like, you really should hire a therapist. Like,
yes.
It's truly life-changing. I just want you to experience this like freedom I have after a conversation that I'm like, oh.
Yes.
That makes so much sense.
Yes. And not somebody who's going to be like, oh, no, you're fine. Like, you're good. No, you're right. This person, like my therapist will be like, what the hell are you thinking?
Yeah.
She literally will look at me and be like, what?
And you're like,
and I need that in my life,
Yeah.
I don't want anybody candy coating anything. Tell me if I'm right or wrong and how to move forward. So yeah, it was nice. I talked to her last night and I said, I bamboozled you apparently.
Yeah.
I made you think I was good and I was not. So here we are. We're back.
You're like, get excited.
Yes. But yeah, I went through this whole spell of like not being able to sleep, and I was taking medicine for it. And like the last thing I wanted to do was take medicine for it. I was trying to get off birth control because I was trying to get off medicine. And anyway, long story short, we're off the medicine. We're able to sleep on our own.
Yeah.
So
you're like, well, it's crazy though. I mean, I just think back, like this year has not been like, I think if on January 1, this is like not what I was expecting this year to be. Like,
you were totally different people on that day.
Yeah. And I just think too, it's interesting because and like thinking back to our like words of the year, mine was calm.
Yeah, mine was,
which is like a giant LOL.
Right.
I'm like,
it was like kind of a joke back and forth. I was like, yeah, this is calm.
Literally, we would be like, not calm. This is not calm. I mean, and I think I knew I was pregnant when I came up with that word because I was like,
you were like, I need to manifest this.
I am gonna like in September have a baby.
Yeah.
I really need to just like channel the calm vibes, not like have these like crazy expectations and not calm. Like, not calm.
No.
I mean, I feel like
yeah,
March and April seemed like fun. I don't even really remember what we did in those months, but I just feel like insanity has happened since
I don't remember
May.
what happened, but we had fun.
I just know it wasn't crazy like May.
True.
And then it just has like trickled.
Yeah. Yeah, it has. Life has happened, guys. I think that's just the ultimate thing. It's not people on the outside, I think that you always have it together because you're able to like, kind of put on a face and, go on your day. And I think that's the great thing is like, for the most part, we have a positive attitude when it comes to it. But it doesn't mean that some things haven't sucked along the way.
Totally. Well, also like, this is my job. I mean, the same way like you have to like check whatever is happening in your personal life at the door, like I kind of have to do that at some level, or I just don't necessarily want to share like, you know what, today's like really sucks, or these are all these like hard things that are happening behind the scenes, or this is like the stuff I'm having to deal with running a business and being the CEO, but like that's not necessarily what they need to see.
Right.
You know?
Right.
And so it does look like there's this level of like put togetherness the same way, like if you're listening and you go to your job and you check yourself at the door and it's like, let me go in and get my job done and come back and we'll pick up that hat and, you know, wear it home or whatever.
Right.
But there's just been definitely a lot of stuff that's been like, okay.
Yeah.
Like, I feel challenged.
Yeah.
Like, I keep thinking back, I'm like, what is all this teaching us? Me? Like, this is happening for a reason. Like, what is this? Like, how am I going to like use this experience for like some future time? And am I going to do it better next time? You know?
I'm still working through that part, I think.
Yeah.
It's been hard. This has been a hard, I would even say just last several months, not the whole year, but the last several months for me personally. And then, you know, of course, I put everything into my work. You know, I put my worth into my work and I'm working on not doing that.
Yes.
It can be in it, but it can't be the only thing, you know? And so I think just evaluating, okay, these are the lessons that I learned and they're tough, but how can I make the most of those situations? You know, we're not all perfect. Like as much as we want to be, I know I want to be, we're not perfect. So how can I take this and learn from it and have a better year next year?
Yeah.
Yeah. My word was joy. And I think that I was pretty far from that this year.
You're like, cool. I know. I mean, if you like, I remember like we could probably go back and listen to the podcast episode. We talked about our words of the year.
Yes.
And just like our intentions.
Yes.
But I mean, I remember us even talking about like where you were wanting to find joy.
Yes.
And, you know.
And that was not found.
Joy. I mean, I feel like, you know,
I had moments.
There's just stuff that's happened. Like, and that's always going to happen. You know, it's like, I don't think there's ever going to be like a perfect, or I think back to like, there was a year, maybe it was 2021 or 2022 that I just like got kind of like a third of the way or 2/3, 3/4 of the way through the year. And I was like, man, this year's like really rocked. Like, I feel like nothing has really gone wrong. Like everything's kind of like been in my favor. Like we've done some amazing things. And I sort of remember feeling like, when's this going to stop? And like, when is the hard stuff going to happen? Because like, surely I can't just go through life like forever being like, this was great. That was great. Like accolade here, you know? And I definitely feel like this year has been like, remember that time?
Right.
You were like, when's the hard stuff coming? Here we go.
Yeah. And, you know, we're trying to be calm.
Right.
You know, it was supposed to be in business and in life. And I'm like, things are going rampant in my life. So I'm like, let me put all my energy into work. And I was not allowing either. I don't think either of us were allowing for the calm. We were like, go and let's keep our minds off of it.
Yeah. And it was just sort of like, let's just work through it. Let's like, if we know, like if we work hard and we set all these things up, like we'll just work past it. And it's sort of like, that's not really how it works.
Right.
You know, like you can do that for so long.
And then you crash and burn.
Yeah. I mean, I think even like, I know for me, I so often get caught up in the just like, what is happening around me.
Yeah.
Like, and I feel like I so often have to like I literally need to just like live with permanent blinders because I can get so derailed, or I can feel like I'm being calm. I've made a decision. We're going to go light on the posting. We're just going to like share what's really like intentional, because that's a big word that we've like continued from year after year and wanted to still do. And then it's like little blinder opens a little bit and it's like, I need to go down this road and like do all these things because like that's all happening. And holiday is right around the corner, which is always like a crazy time.
Yeah.
It's always a time that I'm like, I can take on that project. I can do that. And it's like, no.
Mm-mm. Yeah, we're going to
Chill.
have boundaries,
I know.
between the house building, getting so
Yeah.
close to the end.
And that's actually taking like starting to take a lot more like time out of our like week
Yes.
meetings and like, which is fine and it's a season, but I'm like, we also can't operate at this like pace.
Right.
And like, there's just not enough hours in the day. And I've found myself lately being like, I really need like one more full day to do all of this. And I've tried, like, I take off Wednesdays and we take off Sundays. And I've like even found myself being like, well, maybe I need to just like come in on Wednesday.
Yeah.
And I'm immediately like, nope, like that is your boundary. Do not like, if you get, I mean, I think there's just.
Yeah. It just opens a door for more craziness to happen.
Right.
It really does. So yeah, literally anytime you're like, I'm going to work Wednesday. And I'm like, no, you're not. No, you're not. For everyone's sake. Like, no.
Please. Yeah.
But yeah, no.
It's just wild. I mean, I think there's just been like disappointment that we've experienced on just like personal things. Like, I'm speaking for myself, but I know just in our conversations and just, there's been disappointment on your end too. And just, this has just been a trying year.
Yeah. Yeah. But I feel like, I mean, that's the cool thing about this though too, is that we are in this business that is so new. We can still pave the way.
Right.
Even from this, I feel like it's just literally this year is going to make us so much stronger, coming forward. I think it's just reminding ourselves, like, again, like this is a season. I know that whenever you and I were talking about some of the things that had happened this year, it was like, okay, they say it comes in threes. And then it was like, okay, well, there's three. Okay, now there's a fourth. Now there's I'm like, okay, what are we just saying? It comes in sevens now? Like, what is the magic number where it stops? I'm trying to be positive and I just can't right now.
I know. And so many times I'm like, why is this happening? I think the problem solver in me is so just like, okay, like, why is the devil so at work?
Yeah.
And I think for me, like one thing this year, I've like really tried to like, I started a Bible reading plan. We've been like really involved with our small group. So I know the fact that I'm like trying to like be in the word and read the Bible and just like learn more, like the devil is like, I don't think so. Like, here's all these ways I'm going to tear you down.
Yeah.
And it's just so crazy how you're then having to be like, no.
Right.
No. It's like
you're fighting for it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they always talk about like wearing the armor of God. And I'm like, I literally feel like I have to be armored up every day because I'm like, ping, 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 ping. Don't come at me. Don't come at me. But it's just like crazy. But I'm like, I know all of this will make me stronger and better for the future. I'll at least know how to like handle things like also life is always hard.
It is. I feel like you kind of got hit hard at the very beginning of the year. And it kind of like set the tone.
Right. I was like, oh, awesome.
Yeah.
It's only February and I really don't want this miscarriage to like set us up for the year, but like, ugh.
Yeah. And we were moving into the office. There's just so much change happening at that time too.
So much change. And it's so interesting. Like even just, I remember it was probably maybe a few months ago, we were talking and I was like, I feel like there's like some level of trauma that like comes with like coming to the office.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because it's like,
it was all right there.
Yeah.
At once. Yeah.
And it's like kind of, I don't want to like walk into this place every day and be like, oh yeah, like ding, ding, ding. Like remember what happened when we moved here. And so that was something we kind of had to like work through and was like, okay, well, like how do we make this place like not that?
Right.
So that was like, yeah, it's just wild.
Yeah. And it's not something that goes away overnight. It's a process, And so
I think too, like one thing that really helped me is just like talking with people.
Yeah.
And like hearing from other friends. Like I know I mentioned this on like the miscarriage episode, but like hearing from other people that I didn't even know went through that.
Mm-hmm.
But like the same thing goes for like other hard things that have happened in the year, or just being able to like have somebody to talk to, or,
Right.
I think that's so important and can be so healing to be like, hey, like we're going through this hard time too, or, it's not just all you. I feel like the vulnerability, I've had a few friends that I've sort of just opened up to a little bit more. And I felt this like, just like, wow, like I didn't know I needed to have that like conversation today, but like I feel so much lighter.
Yes.
So sometimes you do have to kind of put yourself out there and just be like, I feel like you're somebody I can trust. Like, can I just like leave some things on the table right now?
Mm-hmm.
And that really helped me. And like a few different times throughout this year, just hard stuff that was going on.
Yeah. That was definitely something that I wanted to be there for you in that situation. I didn't talk about mine whenever it happened because it was very taboo at the time. And I also didn't realize like how much it had affected me still throughout the years. I was like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
And when I finally started talking about it, it then felt like I had a weight lifted off my shoulder, even though it was years later.
Yeah.
Like years. So much can be said about that. Finding that like a person, a few people to just share your heart with.
Totally.
It lightens it a lot.
Yeah. Well, and I feel like you've even in the past few weeks, I feel like have really started like doing a lot more stuff with like some of your friends, and y'all have like been super intentional about spending time together. And I think like I've just noticed a big change even in you, just like, I don't know, sometimes I feel like friends and people like are so important in your life.
Especially the ones that lift you up.
Totally.
I went through this, like when I go through hard times, sometimes I find myself, I hermit myself off and I focus on the one thing, and then I kind of feel like a gray cloud kind of shadows me a little bit. This is kind of what I was explaining to my therapist last night, that it's like, it feels like a cloud of depression, but I know mentally like how to like battle it off.
You're like aware of it.
But I find myself, I just hermit.
Yeah.
And it is not a good place to be when you're feeling down. It's not. And I think that's the roller coaster that I was on, the deep dive that I took, that I closed myself off.
Yeah.
And didn't allow for those conversations to happen. And then therapy stopped. And then it was just like literally a whirlwind of just sad and
I know.
So that was the one thing that, a few weeks ago, I stepped back and I was like, I need to be a better version of me.
Yeah.
What are those steps? What do I need to do to be a better version of me?
Yeah.
And one of them was have people. You need people.
Right.
So therapy, people, fun, reminding yourself that like you have a life to live.
Right.
Go have fun.
I really hate seeing when people just let this like the disappointment just like take over their lives, and then they lose sight of everything. And then it's just like this downward spiral, which I think can happen to people without them like even knowing sometimes.
For sure. For sure. Yes.
I mean, and it's like you really have to be aware or wanting to like get into a place where it's like, this doesn't feel like the life I should be living. And I mean, I guess I'm kind of here to say, like, if you are feeling that way, like, you don't have to stay that way.
No.
Like, there are always going to be hard things that happen. And yes, I think I have a more positive outlook on life in general, but life is meant to be lived. Even if it's like really hard, there's like ways to kind of get out of that.
Yeah.
I don't know. I mean, I think we kind of wanted to talk about just the reality of this year and just some stuff that's been recently going on. Just to kind of say, like, we don't have to like end the year on a bad note just because it's kind of been a tough year.
Yeah.
We
don't want the year to end the way that we felt like it's been going. So that was a lot of the conversation before we wanted to sit down and just say, let's come up with a plan to make this actually the best year. There's still time, so don't lose hope in that.
I know, it's crazy because I mean, yes, it's almost November, which is wild.
Yeah.
Like, and then it's basically Christmas.
Seriously, I just bought my first Christmas present. It was
Oh
weird.
Really?
So weird.
So the kids have been looking through those like Amazon and Target books, and they're circling like literally everything on every page.
Yes.
And I'm like, okay, this is like, I need to set some expectations. Like, we're not getting all of this. But it's wild to me that the end of the year is so close, but it feels like there's so many things we have going on. And we have a lot of travel coming up. And it's like, I'm really trying to be intentional with those times away and like intentional when I'm here in the office. So I think, I mean, even today, before we got on this recording, I was just like, I feel like this is an opportunity. Like there were some things that were going to be shifting and some posts that were going to be moving around because I'm not going to be able to record some things. And I was like, I feel like this is kind of an opportunity for us to just like be okay with it.
Yeah.
And you were like, no. Like you need to just, yes. Like maybe this is like our sign to
I think I said,
calm.
Take a seat.
Yeah, she did. I was like, thank you. I actually like needed, sometimes, you just need somebody to be like, it's going to be okay. Like, yes, I know your brain's going 30 miles an hour, but like, let's just not.
Yeah.
Let's just not.
Another great thing about having somebody that you are close with and knowing like their thought process, I was like, you don't need to be more stressed right now.
Right.
Like sit down.
It's so funny because sometimes Nichelle, I'll just start talking and and I know like she'll just be sitting there listening and looking and she's like, I know you're like working through whatever this is. Like, let me know when you need me to interject.
I'm going to take it all in and try to feel out what the root cause is right now.
Right. I'm like, welcome to Reading My Mind, lesson 732.
Yeah. It works.
Oh, man. We do have some fun things coming up, though. I mean, and I will say, like, on the podcast, while the year has been hard personally, I think we've had like an amazing podcast season.
We have.
This year.
We've met some amazing people. Guys, I actually am seeing Brooks Vaughn right now. She's local here and she's helping me through some hormonal health stuff that I've got going on after, coming off birth control and being old. And so I'm very excited about that.
Yeah. We've also had Rachel Cruz on.
We have. I love her.
She's great. And also I like love that she's just such a supporter of Loverly Gray. And a lot of her videos that she's like doing for the Ramsey University and all of that are like pieces of clothing that I've recommended. I love like watching a video and I'm like, that's that loft blazer.
Oh yeah.
Or those are those Anthro pants.
She randomly is like, got this from my favorite influencer.
I love her. She messaged me the other day and was like, okay, I need some faux leather like pants. What should I get? And so it was like, okay, here's some pictures of me in it. Like, which do you like better? Whatever.
Yes.
But she's amazing. And some of these episodes, like go back and listen to them. Another one of my like absolute favorites was the last episode with Bridget.
Yes.
Like that just entire conversation. What I love about her is she's so knowledgeable as a dietitian, but she doesn't make you feel bad. It's like, okay, maybe you made like a bad choice in what you're eating today, but there's always tomorrow. Mm-hmm. Like you have the choice. And it feels like very encouraging instead of the people that are like, oh, I can't believe you're eating that. Like,
this is what you just did to yourself. Yeah.
Right. Mm-hmm. Like, she gives you these like, this is like what an optimal meal looks like. How can we get towards eating that? Or, let's get you on these supplements that are going to like help your body be like its best vessel, which I think was also something that was really important for me in this year, was to like really focus on my own health. Mm-hmm. 'Cause like when I get stressed, I get like overworked and I'm like, don't take care of myself.
Right.
So she's putting some like things into practice to where it's like, this is not an option. This is what happens in stress. And we're just going to knock that out right away. So she was another amazing episode. I also really loved the conversation with Allie Reeves. I feel like she gave some like excellent motivation, just like boss, kind of like let's level it up.
Yeah. Jen Bowie, of course.
Always Jen Bowie. She's like a lifesaver.
Yes.
Truly.
Yes. For so many reasons.
I know.
Yes.
So there were just so many great episodes on Life with Loverly. I mean, I think we a few times have even been like, gosh, these interviews were like some of our very favorites. So shout out to Elizabeth for just always coming through with like amazing ideas and helping us bring this vision to life.
Which makes me think, I can't wait till like next year.
Yeah.
Think of all of like, this was a great season in the podcast. I cannot wait for the next one.
Which we do have some fun holiday episodes that we're going to be launching in a few weeks. We're going to do just kind of like a mini series over the holidays that will have just some tips and tricks and ways that you can have a seamless holiday. One of my friends, Teresa, is going to be on the podcast and giving us some like hosting ideas, which I'm really excited about.
I'm excited for you to hear from her. She is the funniest human being.
It's going to be so great. And we've got a few other things coming up. And then one thing, I know I don't try not to mix like a ton of like Loverly Gray stuff over here, but this is called Life with Loverly, so that does track and make sense. Nichelle and I are going to be doing a Loft Live together.
Yes.
And we're going to be releasing some of their holiday collection and talking through what that looks like on both of us since we're different sizes and how to style these pieces. And I'm already like so ready to start wearing these clothes.
Me too, guys. They're gorgeous.
We did a photo shoot yesterday just to kind of like prep and get some assets over to the Loft team so we can start promoting it. And I was like, I want to wear this right now. Like, I want to wear, like, get ready to see me in sequins every day at the office.
Yep.
In this holiday, like, velvet. So that is going to be on November 9th.
9th, yep.
November 9th.
6 p.m. Eastern.
6 p.m. And so that's going to be a great little after work kind of hang out with you guys. So there's some really fun, exciting things coming.
There are.
And we're just going to choose to, like, find the joy.
Yes.
Find the calm.
Yes.
And really live it up the rest of this year without accepting the crazy. You know, we're going to work through that.
I love that. We're not going to accept the crazy.
Yeah.
I'm going to remember to say that.
When I just said the joy, it reminded me something I need to go back and listen to. I don't want you to listen to, so we'll come back and do that later. But anyway, this has been a great episode. We just wanted to share a little bit of our heart. I know sometimes things just look like perfect and, you know, just wanted to, if you all are in a tough season, just know you're not alone. And hopefully you maybe got encouraged to, or there was a few things that encouraged you to kind of turn things around.
Surround yourself with some great people.
Yeah, absolutely. We love you guys, and we will talk to you on the next episode of Life with Loverly.